stand on. And everyone, wow, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so very much, Commissioner Elliot Longmeals, for that very kind introduction. I know many of you know that Ellie was the first woman to ever be elected as a commissioner in Hidalgo County's precinct board, and she continues to be the only woman on the county commission today, but she is una campeona para nuestra comunidad. Thank you for her incredible trailblazing leadership to take with our stuff. And of course, a special thanks to your dedicated and tireless CEO of Rio Grande Chain and Adams, La Cynthia Sakulinski, La Mera Family. I salute you on your over 25 years of distinguished service, not just on behalf of the business community and the valley, but on behalf of our community, especially on behalf of nuestra Latina leaders. Let's give it up for Cynthia Sakulinski. Muchas gracias. You know, it's always a privilege to be here in the Rio Grande Valley, where so many of the iconic figures, both in the history of the Hispanic community and in the UnidosUS, have come from, including my predecessor, Raul who is from San Juan. Raul was the first major CEO, national CEO of then the National Council for Raza today, which we now know as the UnidosUS. It is truly extraordinary that the faculty can boast of having 2 Presidential Medal of Freedom recipients, Raul and his close friend and colleague, the legendary Dr. Julian V. Garcia. I hope some of you remember and know the Dr. Garcia's leadership. It really is, for me, a privilege to be among so many respected Latino leaders in this important region. I'm very proud to be a Latino leader. This year, in fact, I am celebrating my 20th anniversary as a president and CEO of the UnidosUS, formerly the National Council on Raza. And I think it's important for me to share just a little bit of my story before I talk a little bit about some of the issues that we see facing our community today. But I am the proud daughter of Alfredo y Amaya Murguía. My parents came to this country and settled in Kansas, of all places, from a little town in Michoacán, Mexico, que se llama Tacalciguaro. Is everybody from Michoacán? Oh, maybe a few here in Texas. I know we have a lot of folks who are familiar with different parts of their heritage in Mexico. But my parents came here with very little. They didn't have much money, in fact, much of an education. My dad had a 7th grade education, and my mom a 5th grade education. Sure. But they had been close in the dreams for their, I would be one of 7 children. We had a little bitty house in Kansas City, Kansas. My dad ended up working 37 years for the steel plant in the town. But most of the men in our community worked on the railroads, the stockyard, and the steel plant. And my mom, to add to the income, would either help sew clothes, she took care of other kids and babysat. Sometimes she would sell burritos, all to add to the income. We didn't have a lot of money or resources, but my parents instilled in us strong values, the sense of faith, family, community, and the belief that we should aspire to dream our own dreams. My dad used to tell us, you're not better than anyone, but you're not less than anyone. And my mom would always tell us, I miss the lot in was called look out for others. And so, even though they didn't have much education, 6 of my brothers and sisters, including myself, aspired and received our post-secondary education and college degrees, law degrees. My oldest sister worked in special needs, so she wasn't able to go on to school, but she worked her whole life. And so, for me, what I can hope you will see in my personal story is something that I think is emblematic to all of our community, because, my parents were able to see my brother-in-law graduate from college and go on to Harvard Law School, the first in our community to do so. They were able to see my brother Carlos graduate from college, go on to law school, and become a first Hispanic state district court judge and federal district court judge in the state of Kansas. They were able to see my sister Mary graduate from college and go on to be the first federal district court Latina appointed to judge in Arizona, and now Mary sits as the chief judge of the U.S. Hispanic Serving Court of Appeals. And they were able to see me graduate from law school and work on Capitol Hill and work at the West Wing of the White House with my law degree. This is the story that I know has repeated over and over again. And for me and UnidosUS, our focus is on every day making sure that we're creating opportunities and encouraging everyone to aspire to their own American dream. So one of the best parts of my job is the chance to talk to audiences like these, especially young and emerging leaders in our community. As you know, serving as a mentor to many young women is an important part of our responsibility as we gather for this Latina conference. And it's our responsibility as established leaders to give back. Empowering Hispanics, especially young people, is at the core of UnidosUS's work. Most people know us for our advocacy groups, such as championing political priorities in Washington and Austin, and helping to register, educate, and mobilize Hispanic voters. But while empowering our community politically in a nonpartisan and bipartisan way is key, most of the work our organization and our network of nearly 300 affiliates, community-based organizations across the country do is to help empower Latinos and Latinas economically. I'm very proud of the work that affiliates in South Texas are doing, working with elected and appointed officials on both sides of the aisle. And I believe that all our affiliates have helped millions of Hispanic children get the quality education they deserve and put them on a path to achievement. We've helped thousands of workers build the skills they need for good paying jobs that help support their families. And we have assisted thousands of families in buying a home. In fact, just a month and a half ago, we celebrated helping our 50,000 families become first-time homeowners. That's how we're changing the landscape. We're helping our community to build wealth that can be transferred to their inheritance. What we do has helped the Latino community, but we also believe the work we do as our mission states help strengthen America by expanding opportunities for the Latino community. And the reason is simple. In short, the Hispanic community is the economic engine of this nation. Just look at the numbers. We are among the fastest growing populations in the country, but we are also the fastest growing group of workers. Nearly 80% of new workers in this decade are Hispanic. And between 2020 and 2040, 70% 70% of net new homeowners will come from our community. And let me tell you that we, especially Latinos, are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs and small business owners. According to a recent study by Stanford University's School of Business, Latino businesses grew by 87% between 2018 and 2023, and generated $65 billion a year. And the Latino community as a whole represents $4.1 trillion it was spending power. In other words, if we were a country, as a Latino community, we would have the 6th largest GDP in the world. In short, we are the employees, executives, taxpayers, and entrepreneurs who are not only adding vitally today to our nation's economy, but we are also the community the rest of America will bring lifeline for their future well-being. It's important for us to understand that. This is the time we should be investing in the Latino community so that we can contribute all we can now and into the future. However, I am very concerned by the direction the country is going in right now. This is not the time to be pursuing policies that are detrimental to our economic prosperity. Yet this summer, we saw the passage of a bill in Congress and signed by President Trump that makes staggering cuts in healthcare, education, and nutrition assistance, among others. It is estimated that nearly half of all children in the U.S. could lose access to healthcare or healthy foods. It could also lead to 4 million Hispanics losing their health insurance. And the loss of Medicaid funding will have severe consequences for hospitals, especially in rural areas such as much of South Texas. And just last month, the Trump administration announced it would be ending federal support for our country's Hispanic Serving Institutions, the colleges and universities that largely serve our Latino students. We have to be aware and informed of what the results and impact from these decisions are. These institutions are the backbone of higher education in their communities, including the Rio Grande Valley. Universities like RGVHCC have educated generations of Latino and Latina students in South Texas. HSIs have provided an avenue to higher education that is too often unavailable to many of our students. In fact, 2/3 of all Hispanic undergraduates attend an HSI. The loss of federal funding will devastate students and will further devastate the economy of South Texas. We need Congress to restore funding for these vital institutions. In programs like migrant education and camp, other programs that many of our families, many of you benefited from, are on the chopping block. And while the impact of many of these funding cuts is still to come, the Rio Grande is also seeing the impact of ICE ratings and the administration's increasing funding for mass deportation. We believe at UnidosUS, and I think it's true for our community, that any of those who would lead us harm or a threat to our national security should be deported. But that is not what is happening. The vast majority of those being detained and deported are not criminals, contrary to what is being said by the Trump administration. Instead, the administration is focused on targeting workplaces such as restaurants, construction sites, and shopping centers. As a result, businesses in the RGV are losing employees and customers. Business is down, and the Belize economy is suffering. We are seeing similar situations across the country. The bottom line is that all these policies, funding us to grading programs and Grande and costly and ineffective mass deportation actions hurt our economy and compromise our future. We are not on the path to economic prosperity. Actually, it's just the opposite. What we need instead is a roadmap that puts our community and our country on the road to economic prosperity. And that is what UnidosUS is working on. We are traveling across the country, holding sessions with our affiliates and other community leaders to hear from them. We are hearing about their challenges and their needs. I'll be meeting with a group of leaders here in the Valley this afternoon. We will couple these community insights with research and polling data to develop an economic prosperity agenda that we believe will unlock America's economic potential, benefiting all Americans. I believe that we have the obligation and also the ability to fight for the policies that help everyone thrive in cost goods. There are 66 million of us. We make up 20% of this country. 8 out of 10 Latinos are U.S. citizens. 1 out of every 4 children in this country is Hispanic. And here in Texas, Hispanics represent nearly half the state's population, and for those under 18, more than half. We have the power of our knowledge, the power of our ticket votes, the power of our voice, and the power of our vote. And even if some try to dilute our representation through redistricting, we will use all the electoral power we possess to stop them. For example, here on the ground, we can all do our part. Express your concerns. Post and like and share on social media. Attend congressional town hall meetings. Register and vote in every election you can. And encourage your friends and neighbors to do their part as well. Together, I know a lone group like Latina leaders who can be beacons of change that light the way forward. We must continue to push back and call out what is wrong, but we also have a responsibility to stand up for what is right and offer a vision that lays a path forward for our country. Because we do believe in a nation of hope and opportunity built on noble ideas like equality and mutual respect. We believe in a nation of laws that recognizes the dignity of each and every one of us. We believe in a nation that understands our mutual prosperity depends upon all of us having the shot at our own American dream. A good job that can help support our families, a chance to start our own businesses, a decent education for our children, access to quality health care, the ability to afford a home and save everybody. Change will come. It won't come overnight, but it will come. And it will come with hard work, sustained protests, sustained engagement, and advocacy. You know, I mentioned that I had a chance at the start of my remarks to work in the Clinton White House. I'm going to close with the most, I think to me, my most favorite memory of my career and of my parents, because I'll never forget my chance to take 2 humble, simple, hard-working parents to meet the president in the White House and the Oval Office. I'll never forget that day. Never. We were standing just in the Roosevelt room. And my mom, I could see as we were preparing to go into the Oval Office, had a tear coming down her cheek. And she looked up and she said, "Gloria, and then my dad, he was ready to go right into the office. And as soon as they left sitting, my dad made a beeline from President Whitmer. He put his hand out there and he said, "Mr. President, thank you for giving my daughter this job." I'll never forget. President Clinton put his hand on my dad's shoulder and my mom's shoulder, and he said, "You know what, Mr. Murguía? I tried to genuineness, and she brought you into this office, but you're the ones who got her here. For me, and I think for our community, that is the story of our community here in this country. It's emblematic because we never get to where we are alone. We stand on the shoulders of our predecessors, our parents, our grandparents. And we have to remember right now, in this moment, I know there's a lot of noise out there. In this moment, en este momento tenemos que recordar que el sacrificio que hicieron nuestros padres, nuestros antecesores por nosotros, tenemos una responsabilidad a no olvidar eso, and to show up and to understand our rightful place in this society, in this country, and to demand that respect, and to demand policies and investments that will move not just our community, but our country forward. We have that ability to do that, and let us not retrench from this moment. We faced hard times before. We have never given up. We are not giving up now. The fight for the America we want to see is on. Adelante, siempre adelante. Muchísimas gracias.